Do I have to clap? I'm holding a drink.
Can you snap?
You can snap.
That was very loud.
The exact same thing that I tried on Monday worked on Thursday.
Yeah.
Didn't work on Monday. Well, those are complicated questions.
Yes, Buffy, let's go to the yacht and do some polo later.
Fucking magic.
So, Dennis, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm happy to be here.
Tell us where you grew up and how did you end up moving to San Diego?
My dad was in the Air Force, so I was born in Dayton, Ohio.
I was born in Erie, Pennsylvania, and we came out to California in '72 after an earthquake when real estate prices were very cheap, and grew up in a place called Valencia, and it had nothing to do with boats. The closest water was a small lake up the road.
And you grew up where?
In the Bay Area.
And
Where
so
it was
you
cold
just
and
wanted
rainy.
You just wanted to go to the sun.
The warmer place, yes.
Within about 9 months, we moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and moved to Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma. And then after that, we lived in Iran,
Okay, then after Iran, you moved to,
Upland, California.
and you ended up going to school and ended up meeting.
Yeah, just public school, and had a history class with Steve, and we didn't start hanging out right away.
Okay.
So 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, but I think in the 10th grade history is when we started hanging out more.
And then how did you get to San Diego?
My brother came to San Diego State, and I basically followed him 2 years later.
My sister came to San Diego to go to school. We used to come down and have vacations with her. And I just liked San Diego. I liked the weather. And when the opportunity presented itself with Dennis to come down, I thought it would be really cool.
I went like this with a map. Oh look, here's the southernmost school. I would like to go to that one, please. That's the only way I chose San Diego State. And I spent 1 semester in the dorms, and all those people were pledging Sigma Chi, and I'm like, oh yeah, we'll do that. Sounds good.
I met Matt, so I rushed our fraternity, Sigma Chi fraternity, my first semester, and I was an aerospace engineer at the same time. I was taking too many classes and being a pledge and everything, so.
I met Dennis the first night of pledging, or of rush, and he was at the bar, and he looked like a small child. He looked like he was 9 years old. And he had this, he was super thin, and he had this huge thing of red, brown hair, and he's wearing this sweatshirt that was clearly a hand-me-down from one of his million of brothers. And it was just like, oh my God, is this small child here? And he was basically in the way of the bar. And I'm like, hey dude. And I was up, get my drinks. And later that night he was all upset because I would go around and I'm like, oh look, there's unused drinks on the table. I'll have this. I'll have this. Because when the keg ran out, there was no more alcohol. Times are tough. When you're 18 and there's free booze, you're like, hey, let's keep the party going.
So Dennis didn't sign up for that.
He was a little wary of me. He was actually a pretty good boy. His mom and dad thought I ruined him, and I probably did.
I remember seeing him during Rush and thinking just, oh, this guy's absolutely nuts. I mean, there's no way he'll make it. There's no way. And then a couple weeks later, we started hanging out, and yeah.
We did become roommates at some point, and during the summers, I would go on the way to driving back to NorCal. I'd stop at his house, and I used to have like Old English 800 in the car, you know, those malt liquor things, and I'd be drinking in the driveway. He's like, you can't do that. You can't do that. My parents are gonna see. I'm like, dude, I'm in college.
And then you were friends with Steve, so Steve would come down and visit you. Is that how?
He came down a couple times, I think, and stayed with us. Because I was living with Matt at the time when Steve came down.
At the fraternity house?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
Yeah. And Steve came and slept on our couch. I'm pretty sure that's how they met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we probably should have did this interview like 20 years earlier.
Yeah.
And how did you end up meeting Steve?
I met Steve on one of those trips home to NorCal. We stopped uninvited at a wedding, at his sister's wedding, in the Arboretum where it was. It was super fancy.
We weren't invited to Steve's sister's wedding, but he said, just come on by.
I did, in fact, step on her train, and then Steve pulled me off by my neck right before it snapped off her head.
Have you been introduced yet, or we are?
No, I'm not sure I ever met her that whole night. Dennis and I were undercover because they had these video cameras that are this big and they're going around table to table. I'm like, oh, we shouldn't be on the video because we're not even supposed to be here. And of course, we had our glasses on like this. And I think Steve had glasses. We all wore our sunglasses so no one would know who we were.
I think I told her thank you for almost inviting me. She was happy to see me, it seemed
Oh,
like.
I'm sure she was.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask some clarification of Steve.
Okay.
Isn't it true that Dennis been fired from every job he's ever had? Marie Callender's,
Yes.
Every job.
Magic Mountain.
Until he
Every
worked for
job
himself.
seems extreme.
Every job.
Seems extreme.
Can you talk about your firings?
Well, when did you quit a job?
Yeah, when'd you quit a job? That newspaper? Nah, you're fired.
I quit.
Business Journal?
No, I got fired from.
From Redondo Beach? Did you get fired from that?
I don't know what show.
You usually remember that job.
When you went and talked to Dave Wakeman?
Yeah, you got fired from that job.
Oh no, I quit that job.
Yay!
What do you think that people think you do for a living?
I don't know what they think I do. I'm sure they don't know what I do.
Steve makes a widget. And that's as far as I've ever gotten. He makes a widget and he sells a widget, and every time he takes 20 boxes to the Postal Annex, he makes $20,000. So it's $1,000 a widget. It's very easy math. I don't know what's in there, but that's what he does. I, of course, just pick up bills and I have to pay $20,000, so it works out way better for you.
I think he does electronic things.
Things that go beep.
Matt, he does printy things.
Printing things. Steven, can you tell me what your friends do?
I know that Dennis cleans up after the mistakes of a lot of our developer friends by renting out their overvalued apartments. I know that he's probably this busy, but he has this much to do. So Matt has been complaining that his business is going out of business for the past decade.
Yes. Let's be clear. I don't do anything. I can't run a press. I can't make the press go. I don't even know where the ink
That's
is.
true.
I tell people to go do things.
No, you're there for the 50 minutes of terror as they're running thousands of sheets through the printer to say, yeah, it looks good. A little more red. No, good.
Yeah, that's it. Cocktail.
Yeah.
How would you describe Matt?
In general,
It's sure. I'm going to go meet Matt on a blind meeting. What should I expect?
Most people just say
Comparison.
Matt is Matt.
yeah.
But if I don't know Matt, what would that mean to me?
Yeah, then you're
You're
one of 5 people in the world.
And how would you describe Dennis?
I would describe Dennis as very engaging, knows so many useful facts, but not quite as many as useless facts.
Yeah.
Actually, he's really, I think, found a lot of success in the real estate, which is shocking since everybody tries to get into real estate and few people make it, but he's done very, very well there, and he married very well.
You married very well.
Yeah.
Here's to that!
Laura. To Laura. Love Laura.
That's a good story.
So 405 Tuesdays started because I used to have to drop my kids off at religious education classes.
Catholic school.
Catechism.
Catechism. CCB.
Is it not politically correct now? Is it Catholic?
At
Both
4
would
o'clock.
be very disappointed.
At 4 o'clock. And the church was right around the corner from the yacht club. So I figured I could drop them off at 4 and be there by 4:05. It started with Bruce Ives, and then
Bruce will claim that he started this.
Bruce did not
we
start
hung
anything.
out with Bruce couldn't be the only one, or couldn't make it.
Yeah,
at
who
Tuesday.
else did you invite?
Denise, you guys,
And then when we started talking shit about all the uppers at the yacht club, then the officers started showing up at the party just to see what was being talked about.
Right.
If there was treason being discussed.
Right.
That's the word in the street.
Absolutely it happened.
yeah,
Favorite concert that you all went to?
all together. We've
And
been a
it was-
million
Oh,
Buffett
there's
John
no-
concerts.
It's a private Jimmy Buffett concert. Come
Yeah.
on,
That
people.
would be it, yeah.
Who would you call to get out of jail?
I'm not sure.
Who would you say is the ringleader of the group?
Yeah.
Who is the most knowledgeable voter? Dennis was trying to
In that direction. Not in this direction. Here.
Who is the funniest?
I think Dennis is the funniest.
Okay, you can actually point. Or you can.
This is pretty funny.
You're pretty funny.
Mostly.
Who would get up and sing karaoke?
I don't
Probably all of us.
Who's the first to say let's do a shot? Who's the first to pick up the tab?
Me.
I think it's Steve now.
Yeah.
Who can you always drop in on without calling?
Oh,
Everybody.
Anybody.
Yeah.
I always tell everybody makes mistakes. Don't apologize to me. We all get drunk. We all do stupid things. We're gonna know each other forever. You just have to move on. Just suck it up. And I say it pretty much every week to somebody who's pissed off in the group. Just move on. Just fucking move on. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. You're good. You can't go down the hall and be mad at them. So just move on.
And that's why we're all friends.
Well, that's why, because it's like it's too late. You can't just leave them. You're stuck with them. You're stuck with. It's like family. You're stuck with us.
Well, that's why I think that it comes in is that we're very much like family. Like there's certainly interlopers that are trying to get into our group, and it's fine, and they're fun people and all, but they're never really part of the core group.
Yeah.
And I say frequently that I don't know anybody outside of our group that has friends like us. Anybody.